Thank you. So today I'm going to talk about trust region interior point method, which provides an optimum L2 path following and also a faster wide neighborhood path following algorithm. And according to the history, this is one of the many descendants of the paper named interior points methods are no worse than simplex that was created by more or less the same authors except me during the trimester program. So think about the history, right? But first of all, what is an interior points methods? So I can write down linear program in its standard form, and I also can write down the dual program of it, and recall that the feasible region of an LP describes a polyhedron, and the optimal solution to the LP occurs at the vertex of the polyhedron. So what interior point method does is to traverse inside the polyhedron as opposed to traversing over the edges of the polyhedron as in simplex to the optimal solution by following the so-called central path object. And then this type of algorithm was first devised by Carmichael in 1984, and then that provides like an efficient polynomial algorithm in theory as well as in practice. So what is this central path equation? It is basically when we put the LP into the log barrier function and then consider the optimality condition arises from the KKT conditions. So the first two equations basically said that your primal and dual variables need to be strictly feasible and also in the correct subspace of the LP. The key is the third equation, which says that basically all the coordinate-wise product of the primal and the dual variables need to be equal to this parameter mu. And then as the parameter mu goes down to 0, the central path converges to a pair of optimal solution to the linear program. And although the central path is like a very smooth, highly differentiable, like infinitely differentiable object, it is still like a non-linear higher dimensional equations. So we cannot hope for compute exact central path point. So what path following interior points method do is to use computable steps to follow the central path and then drive the duality gap to 0. And throughout the talk, I will just denote this mu bar to be the normalized duality gap, which is basically the difference between the objective values of primal and dual programs divided by n. So path following interior points methods usually use like an alternation or a mixture of two kinds of steps. The first is called the predictor step, or also known as descent step, which, as the picture shows here, it shoots down along the central path to decrease the duality gap, but this is usually at the cost of moving further from the central path. But we don't want to deviate too far from the central path because that leads us to the optimal solution. So we use the second types of step, which move back us closer again to the central path without increasing the duality gap, so that we don't undo any progress that has been done by the predictor step. So, but in order to formally describe closeness to the central path, I need to introduce the following well-known neighborhoods around the central path. So first, let me denote the centrality error by the Hadamard product, which is basically the direct product of primal and dual vectors divided by their duality gap minus the all one vector. So as you can see, if the centrality error is small, then xs is closer to the duality gap times the all one vector, which means it is closer to the central path. So L2 neighborhood, which is also known as the narrow neighborhood, consists of all the points such that the centrality error is L2 bounded by this neighborhood parameter beta. And then it is called a narrow neighborhood because the bound is L2 and then it imposes like a two-sided constraint on the centrality error. Whereas the wide neighborhood is significantly larger as it only have a bound which is also an L infinity bound, and it is also like a one-sided bound on the centrality error. So it only requires that the centrality error is lower bounded by this 1 minus theta times the O1 vector, where the theta is like the neighborhood parameter. And as the picture illustrates, for path following IPMs, you might require a lot of zigzagging in the L2 neighborhood because it is it's easier to hit the boundary of the L2 neighborhood because it is narrower than the wild neighborhood. As in the wild neighborhood, it requires maybe far less zigzagging, where each zigzag corresponds to an iteration of the interior points method. So yeah, as the definition shows, the Y neighborhood is significantly larger, and practical solvers use even larger Y neighborhood, and then they always have this termination guarantee in between 20 and 100 iterations for whatever linear program that arises in practice. But perhaps the most well-known path following IPM is called the Mizuno-Tolier predictor corrector algorithm. So it uses an alternation between the predictor step and known as the affine scaling step, which is basically the Newton steps toward the central path point with duality gap setting to 0. But of course, this is far too aggressive to take a full step because that would deviate too far from the central path. So classical analysis shows that if you just take a step length of square root beta over n, then you are guaranteed to reduce the duality gap by a factor of 1 minus square root beta over n while slightly deviating from the central path. So you now stay in a slightly wider neighborhood, namely the 2 beta L2 neighborhood if you start with a beta L2 neighborhood. And then this is followed by one corrector step, which is basically a Newton steps towards the current, the central path point at the current duality gap of your iterate. And as the equation shows here, that both steps can be computed by solving a linear system. So based on this algorithm, also the algorithm procedure is quite simple. So you initialize at some point in the L2 neighborhood, and then you take an affine scaling step to reduce the duality gap by a factor of 1 minus square root beta over n. Then you slightly deviate further from the central path, and then you take a corrector step to go back to the original L2 neighborhood, and then this creates this zigzagging path shown in brown and green along the central path until you hit the optimal solution. So this is done until the duality gap falls down to like 2 to the minus L, where this L is the encoding length of your LP, and then you can round your iterate to an optimal solution to the LP. And then this yields this classical square root n times L iteration bound for solving the linear program. Based on this algorithm, there's a long line of research that has been conducted in both directions of improving the weekly poly running time of interior point methods and also making progress to turning the algorithm into a strongly polynomial algorithm for solving the linear program. So there's a huge number of literatures out there in improving the weekly poly running time. Perhaps let me just mention perhaps the more significant result that Cohen, Lee, and Song, they basically show that LP can be solved via interior points method in the n to the omega plus some little O1 randomized running time, where throughout this talk, this omega denotes the current fast matrix multiplication time. And then this got deterministicalized by Vandenbrad 1 year later, and then I simply refer to his algorithm as robust IPM for my further reference in this talk. And then it can be shown that you can even do slightly better if you are in a randomized setting. And then perhaps like a significant result of this is a near linear time algorithm based on IPM for solving exact mean cost flow and max flow problem. So this is first developed in 2022 and then got deterministicalized by Vandenbrad and more or less the thing offers, which gives the current best running time algorithm for these two combinatorial problems. And then in the other direction is making progress towards like a strongly poly time algorithm for LP. And then it all starts with Vavasas and Ye in 96, who realized that the central path basically consists of at most n choose 2 short and curved segments that are connected by the long and straight parts of the central path. And then to traverse over those long and straight parts of the central path, they use something called the layer least square step. And then this gives them the iteration bound of n to the 3.5 log chi bar a, where this chi bar a is like a conditional number on an oblique projector induced by the matrix A. And it also has like a very close relation to this circular imbalance measure that we have seen in Bento's talk. And let me denote this chi bar A star to be the optimized version of this conditional number by the basically right-hand side diagonal scaling of A. So later, Lam, Terra, and Tsuchiya improves this running time to to basically the same polynomial term with log chi bar A star. And then that basically shows that they have like a scaling invariant iteration complexity by diagonal scaling of A. And they used something called the trust region step or long step to traverse over the long and straight paths of the central path. But at that point, the computation of these steps depends on A and also the vector B. And I will go back to this trust region step later because as the talk title suggests, our algorithm is also based on this trust region step. But later, this is improved to n to the 2.5 times log m times log chi bar A star. And then it not only enjoys the scaling invariant property, but also each step can be computed from solving linear systems. And why do I call this like a progress towards a strongly poly running time algorithm for LP? Well, at least for combinatorial LP, you always have that this conditional number is upper bounded by 2 to the poly n. So plugging this bounding to the iteration bounds of all these algorithms, basically these interior point methods are strongly polynomial in solving combinatorial problems, while also providing the current best weekly poly time for solving them. And perhaps like a new measure of iteration complexity is by something called the straight line complexity, which I denote by SLC for short. So the definition is the minimum number of pieces of any piecewise linear curve that traverse in a neighborhood around the central path to reduce the duality gap from mu0 to mu1. So it is by nature of the path following IPMs that the trajectories generated by them stays in a certain wide neighborhood. So you basically consider two subsequent iterates and then you connect them by a straight line. Then that straight line is guaranteed to stay in a certain wide neighborhood. And hence, this SLC in the wide neighborhood is a lower bound on the iteration complexity of any path following interior point methods to reduce the gap from mu0 to mu1. And perhaps a negative result considering this straight line complexity is in 2018, Alan Minzhong, Benchmark, Galbert, and Joswick, they provide like a parameterized LP such that the straight line complexities in the wide neighborhood is lower bounded by 2 to the n, which shows that in the worst case scenario, path following IPMs indeed need 2 to the n many iterations, and hence it's not strongly poly for general linear programs. And then the parent of this project is the paper by Alan Minzhong, Dadouche, Loho, Natura, and Wang. They give a so-called subspace layer least squared IPM that has like n to the 1.5 log n times the straight line complexity in the y neighborhood. And here the straight line complexity in the y neighborhood is always upper bounded by 2 to the n. And then plugging this into their iteration, you basically get the result that, as their title suggests, that interior point methods are no worse than the simplex method. And then this is the key ingredient to a later paper by Dadouche, Kuo, Natura, Ober, and Wang, who give the first strongly polynomial algorithm for solving Minkow's generalized flow problem. Also, this is basically the linear program with at most 2 non-zero per entry, so two non-zero entries per row of column, by showing that the straight line complexity for this problem can be polynomially bounded in M and N. And why is this straight line complexity a natural measure in iteration complexity of IPM other than the gap reduction, which is standardly used in the short step algorithms? So this is due to the following lemma that if you have 2 points in the y neighborhood and then you reduce the duality gap by a factor of gamma, then if you just connect these two iterates by the straight line, then the straight line is guaranteed to stay in the y neighborhood that depends on gamma. And another natural question to ask is, given a neighborhood, what would be like the approximately optimal IPM look like in that neighborhood? So it better satisfy the first these two criteria. The first is quite natural. Well, since we are talking about instance optimal, then it takes at most order 1 times the straight line complexity in that neighborhood to reduce the gap from mu0 to mu1. because we are talking about instant optimal, so we only allow like a constant factor flexibility away from the lower bound of the iteration complexity of any following IPMs. And since we are talking about a fixed neighborhood n, then all the iterates and the line segments connected to them that are generated by the IPM better stay in the same neighborhood as n. Perhaps more importantly, the step better be computable, because it seems a bit cheating to take a step directly towards the central path. So with all these notions in mind, I can now introduce our main algorithms and also give an overview of how they work. So the first algorithm, I called it L2 trust region interior points method. So we showed that basically if you start at a point in the L2 neighborhood, then it finds you a point in the L2 neighborhood that reduces the gap from mu0 to mu1 using at most a constant factor times the straight line complexity in the L2 neighborhood between these two duality gap many iterations. And further, it satisfies the two criteria that I mentioned before, that all iterates and the line segments generated stay in the same L2 neighborhood. And then every iteration of this algorithm can be implemented in strongly polynomial time with the running time n to the omega. And then this crucially relies on the stability property of the straight line complexity in the L2 neighborhood, which we also established. So if you just halve the parameter of the neighborhood, then the straight line complexity, well, by definition, it surely goes up because you make the neighborhood narrower, so your straight line is more likely to hit the boundary of that neighborhood. So it surely goes up, but we show that it cannot go up like crazily. So it can be upper bounded by a constant factor of the straight line complexity of the original neighborhood. So with this result, I can basically operate in an L2 neighborhood that is like a constant factor larger, because the straight line complexity between these two neighborhoods, they are just like a constant factor away from each other. So I can now give like an overview of what this algorithm does. But first of all, this trust region step is nothing new. It was first introduced by Lan, Montero, and Zhujiya in the same paper that I mentioned before. Our algorithm basically used a combination of their trust region step and also the standard affine scaling step. So in order to traverse over basically the minimal piecewise linear curve in the L2 neighborhood, we either take a short step or a long step or the predictor step. So we use affine scaling step as in the previous Mizuno-Todd-Ye paper to traverse any short straight line segments. And then whenever we detect that we are on a long straight line segment, we take a trust region step instead. And then as the later analysis shows that basically in both cases, this is like the near optimal thing that we can do. And then in both cases, you need at most 3 character steps as before, as the same Newton step as before to go back to the original L2 neighborhood. And here by the long straight line segment, I mean a straight line that stays entirely in the same neighborhood, but the duality gap of the lower endpoint is much less than the duality gap of the higher endpoint, so it's not like a constant factor decrease. And then the second algorithm that we gave is like a wide neighborhood trust region interior point method, which basically improved like a factor of n from the previous paper by Alamijo, Dadush, Loho, Nasrur, and Wing. So now we start with a point in the wide neighborhood, then we can reduce the duality gap from mu0 to mu1 using in total running time n to the omega plus little o1 times some log factor times the straight line complexity in the wide neighborhood between these two duality gap. And then, although this is stated in the running time, it can be shown that it is also approximately instant optimal, but in the wide neighborhood. So you have to increase the neighborhood parameter. So for this algorithm, now we don't have like an analogous step as affine scaling step in the L2 neighborhood. Instead, we use the robust IPM by Vandenbrought to traverse over any short straight line segments in the wide neighborhood. And then this use like an overall n to the omega plus little 1 times the log factor running time. And then for the long straight line segments, well, we still traverse the initial short sections by the robust IPM. But once we are far into the long straight line segments, then we can identify the trust region direction, and then the remaining segment can be traversed in one go by a single trust region step. So this is the setup, and then both analysis of these algorithms relies on the notion called polarization. So given like any straight line that stays in the L2 or Y neighborhood, so by going down the segments, a polarized partition B and N will reveal themselves such that in the end the primal variables must scale down massively, while the total change in the dual variables is L2 and or L infinity bounded, depending on you are in L2 or L infinity neighborhood. And then in B I have the same for the dual variables, but the primal variables stay bounded. And then this phenomenon can be modeled by an instance of the so-called trust region problem, which I will formulate later, but let's see why this polarization holds true. So let me denote this delta x delta s to be basically the endpoint of the straight line segment minus the starting point of the straight line segment. And then a lemma shows that if the segment stays in the L2 neighborhood throughout, and then your segment is long, meaning that the segment reduced the duality gap by at least a factor of a quarter, then the second order term of this segment, namely the Hadamard product of delta x over x with delta s over x, is L2 bounded by order beta. Okay, so now we can write down the equation of going directly to the endpoint. So by construction, the Hadamard product of x plus delta x times s plus delta s is equal to x1 s1. And then I can divide both sides by x and s and consider each coordinate. So now I have this, basically the right hand side is 1 plus delta xi plus delta si plus the second order term, which by the lemma is order beta. This is approximately equal to this mu1 over mu, because the endpoint is in the L2 neighborhood, so it is close to the central part. So each coordinate is x1 s1 over xs is approximately mu1 over mu. And then since we are talking about a long straight line segment, this is far less than order beta. So I have an equation that this 1 plus delta xi plus delta si plus something that is order beta is equal to something very tiny. So in order to achieve this dominant balance of this equation, you have to balance either delta xi or delta si with 1, meaning it is only possible when this delta xi is approximately minus 1, and then you have to balance the second order term with another first order term, so delta si is order beta, or the other way around, and this is basically the only way to achieve dominance balance with this equation, because if your delta xi balanced with delta si, then you are left with a 1 on the left hand side, and that it has no way to balance with something tiny on the right hand side, because the second order term is order beta. And then now the problem can be formulated as in a trust region problem. So in the objective, I want to scale down the primal variables as far as I can go, and this is for primal variables on N, and then on V, I want the change to be bounded. So these two, both of them are in terms of L2 norm. And then finally, I have the linear constraint to make sure that by taking this step, I end up in the correct subspace. And then I have more or less the same thing as in the dual program, but with B and N swapped. And then as another result, we show that this problem can be solved in strongly polynomial time, although it is not very obvious from the look of it, because this is like a convex quadratic programming. And then basically I can find like a delta optimal solution, meaning I violate the constraint by almost a factor of 1 plus delta, don't violate the linear constraint, and then this achieve the objective value that is at least as good as the true optimum value of the trust region problem, and then the running time is like n to the omega times log n times the plus this log 1 over delta, which where delta is the accuracy that we need. Perhaps I skip over this slide because this is just about how to solve this problem. So basically you can formulate it by Lagrangian firing function, and then it becomes like a parametric search problem, which is like a root finding problem, and then this function can be expressed into like a convex monotone function that is also multiplicative Lipschitz by using eigenvalue decomposition for some matrix. And then since the function has nice property, Newton's method converges has quadratic convergence. So that gives like this log 1 over delta running time previously. And then now the key lemma says that if you have a long straight line segment staying in the L2 neighborhood, then a trust region step goes down to the end of the segment in one go. So as suppose you might need many zigzagging as like an order square root n many affine scaling steps, now we just go down in one step. But what about the remaining short and strict segments of the curve? Well, as already found out in the 90s, that the affine scaling steps is already 1 over square root beta optimal if you are only allowed to take short steps, meaning you are only allowed to reduce the duality gap by a constant factor. We improved this result and formulated it in the language of straight line complexity. So if we have like a short straight line segment staying in the L2 neighborhood and it doesn't reduce the duality gap by more than a factor of a quarter, then a single affine scaling step takes you down to the end of the short segment with a carefully chosen step length. And then affine scaling step in the L2 neighborhood can even do more. So recall when we have this long straight line segment, we need to consider a polarized partition B and N, but this happens to coincide with the so-called associated partition, which you can basically read off by computing the affine scaling step at your current iterate. And then the computation of the step length of affine scaling step alone can already detect whether you are currently on a long or short straight line segment. But in the Y neighborhood case, we don't have like an analogous step as affine scaling step. So we just use the robust IPM by Van den Brand, which shows that it can reduce your duality gap by a factor of rho in running time n to the omega plus log 1 over rho. And if throughout our algorithm, this rho is always lower bounded by a Pauli factor of n 1 minus theta over n, because we only require to reduce the duality gap by a constant factor, and then all iterates in between stays in the Y neighborhood. And then we can formulate this Y neighborhood trust region as an optimal solution to this Y neighborhood trust region problem. So here I still want to scale down the primal variables on N as far as possible, while the primal variables on B stays bounded in B. But here both of these norms are L infinity, and then I have the same linear constraints so that I stay in the same the correct subspace, and more or less the same for the dual program, except B and N are swapped. And then we also give an algorithm, but it is much more complicated than the L2 case. So we can find the delta optimal solution to this, also in strongly polynomial time. And then the running time is basically n to the omega plus times log 1 over delta, which is slightly worse than log 1 over delta in the L2 case. But as the optimal solution to this, with some step length, then a single trust region step can go down to the end of the long straight line segment. And that basically concludes the overall view of this algorithm. Perhaps I can end my talk with some further questions. So the first natural question to ask is, can one traverse over those short straight line segments in the Y neighborhood in constant many steps? Well, for the long step, we know this can be done because a single trust region step takes you all the way down to the end of the segment. But for the short step, this is not clear. We just use the robust IPM to traverse over them. And so is there a step as affine scaling step for the L2 neighborhood as for the Y neighborhood? This is actually a very challenging question, because in the Y neighborhood, well, we are talking about L infinity norm as opposed to L2 norm. So it is unclear what orthogonality means in that setting, or if there's any orthogonality. And another more difficult question is perhaps when we consider problems that are more difficult than LP, for example, convex quadratic program or linear complementary problems that have sufficient matrices or P matrices. What do the straight line segments in those settings look like? Now they are not necessarily straight, because you have to incorporate like a second order term, for example, t squared or square root t, so because of the inherent quadraticness of this convex quadratic program and also this LCP. And finally, perhaps the most challenging problem is that to know is what LPs do we have that the Y-neighborhood straight line complexity is always bounded by polynomial MNN. We already know for generalized flow problem that is LP with at most 2 entries per row, that this straight line complexity is polynomial bounded at MNN, and hence we have a strongly polynomial time algorithm for this kind of LP. But to what extent can we have a strongly polynomial LP for other problems? And then, like for how general an LP can be to have like a strongly polynomial algorithm. And then that concludes my talk. And thank you for your attention and time.